We are tonight's entertainment.
You can't handle the truth.
The fire rises.
Pizza time.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So it begins.
You know how much I sacrificed?
You think that's air you're breathing?
Groovy.
I don't have friends. I got family.
We are Sex People! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Craft Services.
Hey, Trent.
Hi, Parth.
It's good to see you.
Nice to see you, too. How's it going? We have a film podcast.
It's going pretty well. I was just telling you about my day and how I took sort of a fat nap unexpectedly. I went down for what I thought would be like a 30, 40-minute slumber and awoke to like 2 to 3 times that. What about you, Trent?
Oh, okay. I asked how you were, and you just said I took a nap.
Well, I guess I was telling you that I feel a little bit crazy. Like, I feel a little like, what's going on right now?
How long ago did you wake up?
At this point, like an hour and a half ago, but I don't really nap. I don't really nap in the day, especially on a work day. I don't really nap. So I feel like this has really thrown me, but that's not true for you.
No, I nap all the time, and I nap at work at lunch pretty regularly.
For the most part, I can nap kind of whenever I want to because I work mostly from home. But I feel like it ruins my workflow. If I want to get stuff done in the day, it's like I have to basically get ready twice.
It's nice because you come out of it with a second wind, but when you wake up, like I woke up the other day and my sort of boss told me like 3 things to do, and I was like, I'm awake and I'm looking at you, but like we're gonna have to go over this a few more times. Naps are important to me, but I've learned that even a short nap is as valuable as a long nap. And I think scientifically a short nap is considered ideal.
Yeah, I think, well, it's supposed to be like you do it within, isn't it like there's like certain cycles that you're supposed to hit? Like it's better to have like a 45-minute nap compared to like a 30-minute nap or something like that because it's like better for the way your brain cycles work or something. I don't know if that's real. I mean, I know it's real. I don't know if that's accurate.
I'm looking it up. Okay, so there's a power nap, which is 10 to 20 minutes. There's a recharge nap, which is 30 minutes. A full cycle nap, that's 60 to 90 minutes. I guess that's one sleep cycle. And then it says
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
It says what to avoid. Naps longer than 30 minutes, but less than 60 minutes often result in, quote, sleep inertia, groggy feeling because you wake from deep sleep. So I guess between 30 and 60 minutes is the danger zone.
Is a no-go. Yeah.
Is a no-go. So either go for less than 30 or go big intentionally and go for like 60 to 90 minutes. But Parth, 45 you proposed is the perfect length. And that's basically a death sentence. If you take 5 45-minute naps in a week, you die.
As important as sleep is, food is, just as important. And it makes me wonder what you've been eating most recently.
Did you even say what you were eating, or did you just talk about napping for a while?
I just talked about napping for a while, but you didn't ask me.
I thought it was your turn to talk, so I thought you talking about the napping would somehow lead into the food.
I can tell you, I went out to lunch with friend of the show, Adam Volerich, who was teaching at Rutgers University today, so he was nearby. We went to the Harvest Moon Cafe for a little bit of a later lunch, around like 1:32, and then I ordered a buffalo chicken wrap and had half of that for lunch, and I think that also contributed to the feeling of grogginess. Also, the pollen has been messing with, I was telling you, Trent, that it gives me brain fog because it's like makes everything, all messy in my head for some reason.
So you're like double fog right now.
I'm double fogged. I'm fogged up. I'm foggy bottom, dude.
I see what you did there. Parth, what if I told you, and you're not going to like this, that I have no relationship to allergies? And today I was just like, what a nice spring day.
Yeah, I mean, that pisses me off.
I think you can't hate me because I've had 25 years of pretty severe headache issues, which some people go through life never having a headache in their whole life, and that amazes me. Because if I step like 1 inch out of line, my body betrays me.
Interesting. But what did your body have to eat today, Trent?
If you can't tell, and Parth, this could be a first for the pod. Well, I guess we know it's not a first. It might be a second. I just drank a beer my new roommate. We went on the.
Did he move in?
Yeah, we have a new roommate. My other roommate moved into the living room, which is now a bedroom.
So you're kind of on the bed right now.
I'm on what used to be our living room, which used to be my podcasting space. Crisscross applesauce on the mattress, not having anything to lean back against, which is horrible. But I just learned Parth is standing at his standing desk, which I think could be a first time that either of us are recording while standing.
That's probably true. This is the first time. Well, so I've recently gotten into my standing desk. My
dad has a standing desk. He's a big believer.
Can I say something that's going to make me sound like an old person? It's a game changer.
Well, like you just feel much better at your desk?
I think it helps with my neck pain because I was mostly just sitting at my desk.
With your neck craned downward?
Exactly. And I think that that's not ideal.
Yeah, or not like what humans are built to do.
Correct. But
over extended periods.
But Trent, humans are built to eat. Tell me what you've had to eat.
Yeah, so I drank a beer, and then I'm glad you asked. Before that, at work, we went to Chili's for lunch because someone really wanted Chili's, and they just kept saying it. And then if you say it enough times, it becomes a reality. And almost everyone at the table got a triple dipper, which
you're saying so many words right now, Trent.
A triple. Do you know what that is?
I can't say that I do.
It just means you get 3 different appetizers for like $17. But I hadn't been to Chili's since I was like 13. But it so happens we're shooting in the area that I grew up in, and so it was like the Chili's in the parking lot of the abandoned mall that I grew up going to. But Chili's, it's like Applebee's but spicy. It's exactly what it sounds like. But want to know what I would enjoy even more?
Cueing the intro?
I was going to say a glowing sponsorship from Chili's and partnership moving forward. But in the meantime, let's cue the intro.
Welcome back to Craft Services, where we talk about the movies. Each week we talk about a film and hopefully have a crew member of that film to talk with us about their experience working on the picture. This week, we're returning with guest Brett. Trent?
You say Brett, I say Jutkiewicz.
Part 2. Yeah, this was a pretty cool interview. He's the cinematographer behind Ready or Not 2, which is our film for this week and last week, but also some other cool films that I'm going to bring up again at the end of the interview. Trent, this was unfortunately a Trentless interview. Thankfully, not a Trentless intro and outro.
2 in a row. First time for everything.
I know. Bash is licking his lips.
Producer Bash has got to be licking his lips right now, thinking about the life him and Parth are going to start together. Bash, all I'll say is this. Stand back and stand by.
Trent.
Bash, we will not be needing you anytime soon.
For reference, listeners that have not been, that are not understanding what's going on, Trent has missed the last 2 interviews, and we've joked that our producer Bash is gonna replace Trent slowly but surely on the pod, and then kick him out. As Trent likes to say, Bash will not replace him.
But Bash, I love you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. But another person I love, DP Brett Jutkiewicz.
Yeah, love is a pretty intense word to be using about a man that you've never met. But
yeah, for an interview I wasn't present for.
But I have to say, I did like the interview a lot. I loved it even. And I think if you didn't listen to last week's episode, you should go listen to that right now. But if you did, I think I'm going to cue part 2 right now. A cast member I did not know was in the movie going in, who has a very small but important role, is David Cronenberg. Can you talk about shooting with him? Because I was not expecting that in the movie.
Yeah, that was really amazing that we were able to get him. I mean, he lives in Toronto, so that was basically the only way we could have gotten him was he actually lives there already. But yeah, I remember, I don't know who who came up with the idea or who suggested him. Might have been our casting director, but as soon as we all heard that he might be willing to do it, we were just super excited. Remember, he came in to do his costume fitting into the office, and everybody was like, "Oh man, David Cronenberg's here! David Cronenberg's here!" So it was really cool to get to meet him and get to work with him, and he was great. We had him for 2 days, and he was, as you would expect, just like totally professional and fun to work with, and gave a great performance, and I think was just so perfect for that role in the film. But yeah, he was great.
Yeah, a lot of fun. One of my favorite fights or sequences in the movie is the pepper spray fight. Can you talk about shooting that and what choreographing that was like? Was that just the actresses were just like doing their thing, or like what was that like for you shooting?
Yeah, that sequence is also one of my favorite sequences. But the origin of the kind of lighting change in that sequence, where it goes from just kind of normal, the lights are on, to this kind of party lighting, dance lighting, disco ball thing, was actually just came about because we had originally had one location, and I had come up with this kind of lighting design idea for an original location, but we lost that location and wound up having to find another location that wasn't as good for what I was thinking for kind of the fight sequence. And so I had to kind of revise what my lighting plan for that, and it just kind of came out, okay, what if they bump into something and the lighting changes, and we can actually play with that kind of juxtaposition between this kind of romantic wedding first dance lighting and the violence of the sequence. So it kind of worked out well, I think, because that was not like the original concept for the lighting, but I think it wound up being perfect for the fight. But shooting that was very kind of, as were all of the fight sequences, very carefully choreographed by our stunt department and the directors. So that was the kind of thing where we were seeing rehearsals, and the stunt department would shoot some previs on their phones of the stunt performers, going through the movements and some ideas for the blocking, and we kind of, once we knew the space and the layout, would tailor it. I worked with Matt and Tyler to kind of tailor the action to the space. So it was pretty, by the time we were in that space and shooting, we knew kind of exactly where in the space each beat would happen. I think I'm sure there was some adjustments on the day to, based on the realities of being there and with the camera and our actors. But for the most part, we knew all of the beats and where they would happen within the space. And, we knew where to place the DJ setup so that it would be in the right spot for them to bump into it at the right time, and which table she'd crash into, and where the wedding cake was. So all of that really was planned out pretty precisely in advance, and kind of needed to be, just with the amount of time we had to shoot it.
I mean, it comes off very loose, so kudos to you all. You sort of brought it up earlier, but could you talk about the like cult wedding pit, that whole set, or I guess the location, and also, was that clock, was that practical, or was that VFX?
Yeah. No, that was practical.
That's an
that was
awesome
really cool.
prop to have on set.
Yeah. That was really really cool. I mean, Andrew Stern, our production designer, who was the production designer on the first film as well, was just amazing. I mean, him and his team were incredible. I think Tyler and Matt, said we need, some kind of clock-ish thing that looks, imposing and looks like it's, maybe been there for centuries, and kind of let him run with that idea. And him and his team just came up with that thing, and it was all, practically motorized from our special effects department. So that was very cool. And that was shot on location, but most of it was built into this existing location. So it was an abandoned church. And so the kind of platform and the pit and basically everything you see there, aside from the outside walls, was built in that space by the art department. And so, that was good because we, had some control over the layout, and, we knew, how many people we needed to have in there, and kind of roughly how the ceremony would take place. So we were able to kind of put the pit exactly where we wanted the pit and the stage and the wings and all of that. So, but that was a big build for the art department, and difficult space to work in because it wasn't a sound stage. So yeah, they did a really, really great job putting that together and building that platform up above the floor to allow for our pit. And our grip and electric team just did an amazing job getting our overhead lights into that space, which was quite a challenge as well. Yeah, we were, able to design that space to our needs for the most part.
Is there anything ultra specific that when you rewatch the movie that like only you as a DP would notice?
That's an interesting question. I mean, I'm sure lots of things, lots of little things, or, I don't know, things that I noticed that I wish I could have gone back and fixed, but I don't know. I mean, it's mostly just little things, or I'll notice that, especially with kind of exteriors, like walk and talks, I'll notice like, oh, the bounce card got a little too close. I feel like I can see it on her face in that instance, which, most people probably won't ever notice. But I think just like little things like that, or the color of one light was like a little off from, the color of another light, but nothing, nothing major. I would say nothing super kind of interesting, but really, what I remember is kind of the process of making it when I see those, see the things and kind of what was happening on that day, and how either how stressful it was or how enjoyable it was, or often both. So, when I watch the movie, it's like there's a couple layers to my kind of my watching it that has a lot to do with just the people who we made it with and the process of making it.
Was there, I guess, another version of this question, is a hardest scene to shoot, or a scene that you were, after the fact, most proud of, that you like pulled it off?
Probably most proud of that opening shot, just that it worked as well as it did, and it was something that just kind of popped into my mind. Like, it would be amazing if we could just continue, right? Literally continue the shot without cutting from the last film, and just stay with her in that moment. And so I think that shot in particular is maybe what, the shot that I'm most proud of in the film. And that was quite difficult technically, but I would say also the temple sequence, the third act sequence, was just such a big undertaking with so many cast and so much to get through in a limited amount of time, like so much action, special effects, some visual effects, but it was just a big, important, sequence. And we didn't have a ton of time to do it. So that was one that was probably, in terms of the sequences in the film, maybe the most challenging.
And with that opening shot, you've really given fan editors the perfect way to cut both movies and make one big, the whole bloody affair.
Yeah, I was suggesting at the premiere they should just play both, like a double feature that doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a cool screening experience for sure, just to, watch one right into the other.
Do you have a favorite kill in the movie?
It's a good question. I like when Tony Hall, who plays Cheng Fu, explodes eating his chicken wing in the club room. That was just, I just love all the reactions to to him about to explode, and it's coming, and it gets all over everybody, and that was fun. I remember, we all were laughing hysterically, and watching that as we were shooting. So I liked that. I like that kill a lot. Maybe the first kill too of Kevin Durant in the first kind of explosion, just for how kind of shocking that is, and that moment kind of comes out of nowhere. That was one of our first couple of days of shooting as well, was that sequence. So
getting out of Ready or Not talk, just as we sort of start to wrap up, you mentioned Stranger Things season 5. That seems sort of like a behemoth to accept and take on. Can you talk about shooting that? How did you get involved with that?
yeah, so I started working on Stranger Things in season 4. I came in halfway through the season because of COVID and their schedule changing. One of the two DPs had to leave, so I replaced him. So it was myself and Caleb Heyman, the other DP, and so I did the second half of season 4, which was great, and kind of really was like welcomed into that family. And it's like very much a family. There's a lot of people who had been working on it, from the beginning. And so it was really cool to be a part of that, and especially part of a show that I already, watched and enjoyed so much. So that was a great experience coming in season 4. And then when they were doing season 5, they asked me to come back for the full season with Caleb again as the other DP. And yeah, it's a big show. I mean, season 4 was big in terms of its scope and scale, and season 5 was even bigger. So it was a lot of big sets, extremely complicated lighting scenarios and camera scenarios, and then working with that great ensemble cast. So it was a long shoot. It was challenging, but very rewarding. And again, just like really thankful to be part of that, invited to be a part of that, and part of that family of people making that show, because everybody really from in all departments were just so passionate and so caring about what they were doing. And I think that definitely comes through in the show. So it was a great experience. A difficult shoot, but a great experience.
Another franchise that we've mentioned this before, but we actually happened to interview one of the DPs of the first Scream. Can you talk about working on the sort of new, you guys kind of jump-started the franchise again with Scream and Scream 6. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. That was, an exciting opportunity to, I remember, when Matt and Tyler told me that they were going to get to do Scream 5, just like how, excited they were. And so, how happy I was for them to think they were the perfect choice to kind of bring their sensibility, as fans, of course, of the original, but with their own kind of vision and sensibility. And so I was, of course, happy to be asked to be a part of it as well. And so, we talked really about wanting to respect what had come before, but also feel like we could put our own stamp on the new film on Scream 5. So that was, it was very much just about, we didn't approach it very differently than any of our other films in terms of, it starts with the story and the characters and the emotion of the scene, and, how we want the visuals to help tell that story or help create an experience for the audience, that's reflective of what the characters are going through in the film. So, really wasn't that different, other than thinking, okay, we're continuing on this legacy. Let's for the first of those two films for Scream 5, we decided to shoot on anamorphic lenses because of the first 3 were also shot on anamorphic, or the first 4, sorry, were shot on anamorphic. So, but ours was the first one to be shot digitally and not on film. So we thought we'd continue with the anamorphic look and feel of that, just as a way to tie those to the prequels. And then on Scream 6, we switched to spherical lenses just felt better for the story that we were telling there. And we felt like we kind of made that shift, that transition from, in Scream 5. So
Are you generally more inclined to use spherical lenses, or is it really just a case by case?
it's really just case by case. I usually test both for every film unless the director has a specific, like, oh, I really want to shoot anamorphic for this. But generally I'll look at both in testing and see what kind of feels right. I mean, I usually have an inclination when I read a script, whether it feels anamorphic or not, but I try to stay open and really let the kind of testing and the discussions with the director kind of lead the way on that.
Sure. Are you working on anything you can talk about right now?
I just finished at the end of last year a film called Painter, which was directed by Garrett Warren and stars Amber Midthunder and Walton Goggins. And so that is kind of an action thriller. I probably can't say too much about it, but that hopefully will be out, I think, in the fall of this year.
Walton Goggins is enough to bring the people in. Everybody loved him.
yeah, he was great, and Amber was great as well. It's a fun film, kind of thriller action film, and they were both great. But that we shot that in Belgrade, Serbia, at the end of last year. So that will be my next project that's released.
Awesome. So we've reached the big kahuna final question. And it's just, what's the last great movie you watched? And it can be a rewatch or a first time watch, but it can't just be good. It has to be great.
Well, I mean, I recently watched One Battle After Another.
Well, that was easy.
I thought that was a great film. I really, really, really liked that film. I like all of Paul Thomas Anderson's films. I think Magnolia is probably one of my favorites of all time films. I'm trying to think if there's another film that I rewatched recently, but
One Battle After Another's it's the Best Picture winner. Yeah, so
pretty great.
Well, thank you so much, Brett Jutkiewicz, cinematographer behind such films as The Black Phone, Scream, Ready or Not, and its sequel this week, Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Parth, I know I wasn't there, but I think that went pretty well.
I have to agree.
Thanks so much to Brett Jutkiewicz and his team for setting it up. But it begs the question, would it be better if I wasn't here, or if I was never born and Bash was the co-host of the show?
It's an interesting question.
That Bash ponders late at night when he can't sleep.
It's funny that you can't just not have been a part of the show. You had to have not been born.
Because Parth, if I'm on Earth,
you're on this show.
I'm a fucking part of this.
So then you have nothing to worry about. I would sleep with one eye open. But yeah, thank you so much to Brett Jutkiewicz for coming on the show. We really appreciated you having you on. He's worked on a bunch of cool stuff, and I think it's very likely that we will ask him to come back on, hopefully for another cool project of his. We'll see if he deems us cool enough to come on for.
I guess if he just thinks you're cool.
That's true. Maybe if he says no next time,
we'll know what he thinks about your coolness level.
Well, we'll know what he thinks about you, because you're making the next Brett Jutkiewicz interview.
Well, here's the real thing. If he comes for interview 2 and I'm there, and then we ask him for interview 3, we know that I'm the problem.
That's interesting. But for interview 2, it's me if he doesn't come for that.
But what if he responds and he's like, Parth, I would love to do the interview again for my new exciting project. Thanks for asking. But I do just want to give a few notes on your personality.
Oh, dear. We've never had a guest do that.
Brett Jutkiewicz, we're just joking. Thanks for coming. Listen to part 1.
You're a cool guy with a cool career. He's worked with some really cool people. And, in part 1, we talk about working with the Safdies and sort of coming up in the industry. And then, of course, in this second part, we talk about things like the Scream franchise and Stranger Things. And it's always cool when you get to talk to people that have worked on things that, like, your parents know about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Wait, Parth. People should like listen to us on like just in general, but how they should go about that? Probably Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher.
And frankly, wherever you get your podcast, like any major podcasting platform, I would say that we're on.
Yeah, you
know?
cut me off before I said my favorite one, Pandora.
Well, yeah, James Cameron's Pandora.
But let's also not forget, Parth. Like, you interrupted me, and yet I'm still not done.
Okay.
YouTube, Parth. Have you heard of it? We're on it.
I've heard tale of the one they call Tube.
Thanks to producer Bash, we're on YouTube now.
Yeah, our back catalog is slowly coming up. I saw that we're coming towards. You remember when we did Cruisapalooza? We covered 3 Tom Cruise movies.
Whoa, War of the Worlds, Magnolia. You think I can do this? Top Gun?
No. Well, we did cover Top Gun, but not as a part of Cruisapalooza.
Those are the glory days. Remember editor Eddie Hamilton?
Hey, we had him on last year.
700 hours of in-flight footage, Parth. Did you know that?
Does that mean nothing to you?
If you
I think it might have been 800, Trent.
It was like 700 and change, I believe.
I think it was 819. Hard to say.
Yeah, please refer to the interview. But yeah, what was the third Tom Cruise movie?
What did we say? It was Magnolia, War of the Worlds, and Collateral.
Collateral. That was a funny discussion for me.
Yeah, a discussion that sort of solidified why I think we don't do discussions anymore, which was that Trent started saying, yeah, and the ending was so weird, it just sort of ended. Like, what even happened to Tom Cruise? And I was like, well, he very much gets shot and died at the end. And you, on the record, found out that a movie you'd been discussing for 45 minutes, you finally figured out what the ending was. That was sort of the beginning of the end for the discussions, but the beginning of a new chapter for the podcast.
I swear I've seen the first act of Collateral like 5 times, and I've
Yo,
seen
homie.
the third. And I've seen the third act at this point at most once. And it happened to not be before I did my film podcast discussing it.
But we're much more professional now because we've got guests like Brett Jutkiewicz and our guest next week, which I'm not going to spoil.
Don't be dramatic, Parth.
I would never want to be dramatic about it. I wouldn't want it to look dramatic, but
People are going to think there's drama between us.
and I don't want
More
people
than
to
usual.
know. I know. I don't want people knowing any more about any more of the drama that already exists, you know? But next week, ideally, we're going to be talking with a pretty cool guy about a pretty cool movie that's coming out pretty freaking soon. Or actually, in your time, it's already come out. It's in theaters. So
go see it. So go see all the cool movies in the movie theater.
just to be prepared, you should just watch everything in theaters.
Everything that's cool,
Who knows?
because this is cool.
It could be Super Mario Galaxy.
Guys, us using the word dramatic was a red herring, and what we're really covering is the Super Mario Galaxy
Trent, should I
movie.
tell them? We're interviewing Mario.
And he's bringing his brother, Luigi. So it's
Luigi
gonna be
Mangione.
So it's gonna be So it's gonna be a 5-way call, actually like a 7-way call
Oh,
between
God.
Parth, Trent, Mario, Luigi, the character, then Luigi Mangione, and then Mario and Luigi's representation. They're gonna be in the Zoom call, and then Luigi Mangione's representation.
Right.
So if that sounds exciting, Sundays at 5 a.m. would be the time for
It's
you.
true. And if throughout the week you start to forget, that the episode's coming out, do not even worry, because you should be following us on Instagram and Twitter, because we're going to be posting about that. We're going to be freaking posting about that.
There's going to be like our
We're
whole cut
post-maxing.
services. A clavicular got arrested. Fun
Yeah,
fact.
I saw that.
I just explained to my roommate who clavicular was.
Trent,
and
can
I
you
was
stop
like,
jester gooning, please?
And I was like, he's like the looks maxing guy. And he said, what's looks maxing? And I was like, I have so much.
And you said,
to
boy, have I got a story for you.
I've got so much to teach him. I don't think I've drank on the pod since the drunk
Since Drunk Pod.
But that was like 2 or 3 beers.
It's interesting that you're bringing this up. Are you going to drink right now, or
No, I just had 1 beer on the roof with my roommate, but I just feel
a little
feels-
funny?
feel a little funny, so I feel the need to bring it up in order to excuse
Trent,
myself.
it was 1 beer. Don't be dramatic. Don't make a whole drama about it, okay?
dramatic.
We'll see you next week, guys.
I'm so excited for the Mario movie, bro.